All right, good deal. Good morning, folks. It's Cornell with YouTube Fishing Vids, back at it up here in the mountains of Maryland, trying to whack what is a walleye. Walleye is the first day fish. That's pretty awesome. I'm working out a jerkbait on a windy morning, but a warm morning. It's probably like upper 40s right now. Water temperature's still down in the mid 40s, and I got the jerkbait in my hand because unlike my last video, I got wind, I got clouds, and I got all the kind of things that are calling for a jerkbait. So I'm gonna go ahead and work this jerkbait out for a little while. If I gotta break out the blade bait in this 40-some degree water, I will. But tooth the critter to start the day. Unfortunately, definitely not a keeper. Gotta be 15 inches, I can tell by looking at him. He's not gonna make it, but let's go back at it, see what else we can catch. All right, folks, I got fish number 2 on. I'm not sure what it is yet. It looks like a smallmouth, and guess what I did? For once, I changed up color. I changed colors from the algae bone. Oh my gosh, I've seen too many of these poor, struggling fish in my past few times out here. That's a nice little pretty colored smallmouth, but he is hurting big time when it comes to needing to eat. But look at that. Went from the algae bone to the classic pearl white, something I'm not sure exactly what they call that, but it's the same bait. And that's the first smallmouth on the change up. And I only have had this color on for a handful of minutes. So I did a change up on color and caught my first smallie. All right, let's keep on rolling with this and see how it produces. There we go. Wow. I'm glad I did the switch up, guys. I'm glad I did the switch up to this bait. Now, it could be the section of bank I'm fishing, but it's hard to say because there's a nice smallmouth on that bone colored deal, and that's a big contrast. Now, what do you think of the difference of that fish compared to the last one I just caught? And he got every bit of it too. That's a nice fish. I'm so glad the jerkbait bite's happening right now. I'm glad I did the switch up, and let's just hope and dream that we keep catching them like that. Okay, folks, blade bait is in the water. I have seen enough fish and had the wind die down enough for me to want to drop down to them. So let's go ahead and put this silver buddy, gold silver buddy. It's cloudy. The gold works better when it's cloudy. So let's go ahead and see if I can pick up one of these many, many fish that I see in about 12 to 15 feet of water. Fish on, folks. There's the blade bait bite I was looking for. A nice one too. Feels like a nice one anyway. That was out a little bit deeper, right where I was seeing them. And perfect situation. Nice one, guys. Nice fish on the gold blade bait. The silver buddy, the absolute original. Perfect. Look at that fish. Nice one, guys. Almost nettable, but I've got 10-pound test. Let's see, I did this once recently. Let's see, he's perfectly hooked. Look at that fish, guys. That is awesome. I'm so glad I broke out the blade bait. It's gonna be that way for probably a lot of videos. I hope you guys don't get bored of it, but this thing is a killer this time of year when these water temps get below 55 degrees and these cold nights come on and these fish drop down deep. You're gonna get them like this, folks. You're gonna get them like that. Look at the belly on this one again. This is what we're looking for this time of year, these big, fat, beautiful bellies. Going back, let's find some more. There he is, number 2. That's such a cool bite. It's such a soft bite. It's such a really, it just gets heavy and you feel the first lunge and it feels like another nice fish. I'm so glad I'm working this. I got the wind literally pulling me into the bank. It's pushing the pelican right up against the shore here, and all I'm doing is coming uphill. I've done this many times where instead of going downhill, you go uphill and you bring it to them, and there they are. Blade bait fish number 2, looking beautiful. Oh my God, back-to-back cast. I thought I got hooked on a rock. Back-to-back cast, guys. Look at this. The game is on. Isn't it amazing to be out here in 45-degree water and just whacking them like this? I knew the blade bait would have to be the way to go. Another nice one. Again, beautifully hooked. He's not going anywhere. Little cookie cutter. A little bit darker on that one. Not quite as golden, but right in the nose. Probably went over it in my last video. When it comes to the setup, 7-foot, medium, fast action, shaky head rod, just a Lew's custom speed stick. Their shaky head special, 2500 series Stratic, Shimano. I figured it out. It's 15-pound test Power Pro Slick, 10-pound test fluorocarbon leader and the original 1/2 ounce silver buddy in gold. That's what I'm playing with right here. I did upgrade the hooks. The upgraded hooks are definitely putting it to these little smallmouths, so that's certainly helping the situation when it comes to getting these fish buttoned, and that's pretty much what we're working with here. So let's keep working it. All right, while I'm at it, let me show you what I did to this blade bait to get these hooks upgraded. So there's just a number 6 round bend. I think that's a mustad, I'm pretty sure, but what I did is I took off the original hook. I took a pair of cutters and I cut right there at the eye, and I basically bent it out, put it back on, and then bent it back shut. So there's no O-ring on that. That's exactly the way it comes in the package with their crap hooks. So this is a much better upgraded hook, and that's what I'm dealing with right there. But on this one, I actually went ahead and put an O-ring on the front. So the O-ring is on the front, and so I'm getting a little bit better, a little bit less leverage on the fish. So it's going to be twisting a little more, not getting popped out of their mouth as much. I'll get a better, not a better hook set, but a better hook up, and I'll be able to hold those fish a little bit better. But look what I did also. I cut off the front hook on both of those. I think the Mollix bait that they've got out has that type of hook set up where you don't actually have the front hook to get hooked up in the rocks. So effectively, when these are going across the rocks, you're basically having a lot less chance of getting hung up like that. But you see that it's still hooking them fish with one less hook on each treble. So that's the deal. That's how I got my little blade bait set up. They don't all have an O-ring on the front. This specific one I set up just happens to have an O-ring on it. Most of my blade baits don't have an O-ring. I just basically cut off the original, hang a high quality hook on it exactly the way they come by snipping the base of that eye, twisting it open, slipping it on, cutting off the front hook, and we're in business. So let's see if we can get in business again with some more of these fish that are biting. It's a little bit of a workout on your wrist. There he is right there. There he is right there to get these snapping, popping, lifting motions on this blade bait. So if you see that I'm using my left hand to help me lift the bait ever so slightly, it just definitely keeps you from getting worn out all day on these blade baits, because it'll put a hurting on your wrist, especially on the spinning rod situation. But look at that, guys, another one, little dink. But just as I'm talking about it, yeah, I lift with my left hand, assist my right hand when it comes to popping these baits off the bottom. It definitely reduces the fatigue of fishing these blade baits all day. Back he goes. No way, guys. I hope you folks saw me reeling, because that's how it goes with the blade bait. Sometimes you don't always have to hop it. Sometimes just swimming it gets them going. That's exactly what I did. I was pretty much popping it off a rock, gave up on that cast pretty much, convinced myself I was going to get hung up if I kept hopping it right here on the edge. And this guy just decided to slam it right as I'm bringing it in. It's a nice one, guys. Another example of also why I put up that jerk bait. I'm telling you, I wanted to get that jerk bait bite. I knew this blade bait bite would have been the way to go, and it's proven itself again. Just an absolutely awesome bite. Yeah, sometimes just to stop and go or steady retrieve on these blade baits is enough to get them going, especially right up here shallow. You know, when you're coming uphill and you've got a whole bunch of rocks you're about to get hung up in, which you will get hung up in on these blade baits, sometimes just stopping at the point where you feel that first rock that wants to eat your bait, and you just slowly bring it in right over top of him as it's coming up back to you. One of those rocks may be holding one of those bass, and he's going to come up and grab it. And that's exactly what that bass just did. There we go. That's a nice one. Wow, what a bite. That feels different. Either I got this thing snagged funny, it's really big, or it's a walleye or something. I don't know what I've got. Oh, it's a trout. I think it's a trout, guys. Yep, I got myself a rainbow trout. Here comes the multi-species action. I thought that felt funny. I got dinner. Oh, and he's in the boat. Lucky me. That's a beautiful trout. Look at that beautiful fish. Isn't that something? Another reason why the blade bait is absolutely a killer this time of year. Let's put him on the stringer. Another one coming in, guys. Look at that, another one on the way in. I actually made a move, came back to Old Faithful, this spot that had been producing for me, and just like you had seen that one fish eat on the way in, that's what this one just did. And look what I had to do. I lost a couple baits, guys. I lost both of my, two of them. I lost 2 gold silver buddies, and I've got the really cool XPS laser eye, something or other blade bait by Bass Pro Shops, and they're gold. Pretty much set up very similar with those cut off little hooks. And another one eating it on the way in. Amazing. Back-to-back cast. That time he got it on the drop. Not, oh, does it feel different again? I don't know. No, I think it's a, I don't know. It's always a mystery. When you catch them out deep like that, you never know what you're gonna hit. This thing's digging. Another nice smallie. Look at that, back-to-back casts, and another nice one. Glad I came back over to this spot, and this XPS is taking care of business now. Awesome. Oh, there he is. I thought it was snagged, but it wasn't. It was snagged on another fish. Another one, nice one. Gosh, they're not huge. They're not huge, but I'm so happy to be catching them on a blade bait. Man, they're choking it. There we go. Another one. Another one. What a fun thing this is. Let's see what we got. Looks like a nice one. Yep, decent. Haven't lost a single fish so far. They've been getting them good, just like that. Those two little fangs are getting them right in the top of the nose. There we go. I drifted to a new spot. Lost a couple more baits and tied on. Oh, nice jump in the middle of the early winter. Gosh, that's a great looking bass. And wait till you see this little bait, guys. Same exact setup. I went half the size, and look at how much of it he got in his mouth. This is a little inexpensive thin fisher. This is the Johnson's thin fisher. I've fished with this many times in the past. This happens to be the gold one in a 1/4 ounce. You want to talk about choking it? I'd say he got it pretty dang good. So that's way down in his throat. And the reason I switched to this, as windy as it is, let me throw that one back and show you the bait. As windy as it is and tough as it is to control, even this 1/4 ounce gets down there pretty quick, not as fast as a 1/2 ounce, but great little bait right there. And look how tiny these little hooks are. With all these rocks and everything that's going on, those little hooks right there aren't going to get snagged as much. Did the same thing where I chopped off that front little barb and I got it going on. All right, so that's great. So this is first cast in this little spot. Again, the wind is just literally banging me right up against the bank. I'm just up against the bank, throwing down and up the drop off here. So out to the deep, coming up to the shallow, and he whacked it about halfway back. Let's see if we can get another. So that's the third blade bait I've tied on today. Started off with a 1/2 ounce gold silver buddy, went to the XPS gold Laser Eye Bass Pro Shops blade bait in a 1/2 ounce. And now I've cut the size in half, went to the 1/4 ounce Johnson thin fisher in gold. And they're all producing, guys. I'm telling you right now, blade baits, they're a dime a dozen. There's tons of versions out there. It's all about getting it down there and putting it in front of fish. And if you got the right setup and you've got fish around you, they're gonna eat it this time of year. So let's see if we can get this snag off. We'll go back to catching some more. Well, I'm not too fearful that my boat's going anywhere because it's blowing straight into this bank. But I am going to check this little guy out because this is a really cool thing to see. I cannot believe this dude is up on this bank crawling around doing his thing in this weather. It is really cold out here, bud. What's with you? Got a little newt here, guys. Really cool little newt. If you guys know your amphibians, go ahead and leave a comment below and tell me what that is. I have had someone tell me what that thing is, but I just can't remember. I think it's a young version of something, but I know he's cold, so I'm going to put him back on this rock. The sun broke out for just 2 seconds. Let's give him a chance at warming up. Go on back, buddy. All right, folks, I normally don't like to end my videos without a sign-out fish, but I gotta tell you, it's getting treacherous out here. I got mini whitecaps. The wind came up out of nowhere. It is hustling out here. I'm over here by the boat ramp. I'm gonna get on out. It was another incredible day of early winter's bass fishing, walleye, rainbow trout for dinner, all kinds of great stuff, eating the blade bait. But yeah, it's time for me to go with little mini whitecaps, and I'm rocking and rolling on the Pelican. So folks, as always, I appreciate you joining me. As always, I appreciate you subscribing. Until we meet again, over and out.